Hello, so you can hopefully see I've got another one of these Cree LEDs installed in this flashlight now, so it's actually really bright and useful. It's the same brightness, or might be even brighter than the mag light I've got, because basically I just bought one of those modern Cree mag light replacement bulbs and put it in this one rather than having to swap it around every time I wanted to use one with a brighter bulb. So that's good. Hello, you're right. So yeah, there's this, so that's pretty bright, as you can see. It'll white out the webcam, I imagine, if I shine it in it too long, so I don't want to do that because then it doesn't always adjust on the brightness. All right, so yeah, there's that. So, you know, that's pretty good. That's set up, ready to use as a backup to my mag light. All right, Blue Hernandez, but yeah, good day to everybody joining. So yeah, the other thing I did the other day was took the liner out of this. Well, not the liner, but you know, like the liner pads out of this, like a few people had recommended, so I can actually get this helmet to fit me properly. Because this is one of those annoying helmets where, with the liner in properly, it was just way too tight for my head. I quite like the Polish MP5, but you have to make sure if you get one, you get the real Polish MP5 and not the French ARFA or whatever it's called. All right, got in the studio, but yeah, hello to everybody joining. All right, Peach, you at work today or you got the day off? Can this blind you? Obviously not permanently, but you can't look into it. You know, if you're looking into it, you're not going to see anything else because that's obviously how bright it would look. So, you know, it's a good. These bulbs are really good. That's what they look like if you are just buying them on their own. Don't know how easy that is going to be to see, but it's basically just like one of those XP2 Cree LEDs, whatever they call them. Yeah, but the thing was with the coloured filters, I've ordered another pack of them because I think it was missing a couple in this one. So I've ordered like a sealed pack of the coloured filters. But at the moment, I've got the thing removed for the coloured filters because there's like a little adapter on there for them. I've taken that off because I'm not planning on using this with the coloured filters most of the time. But yeah, if you want to, I can probably just put a coloured filter in right here if you want to see one. So obviously, I'll need to put the bulb back in because this isn't designed, although the Maglite bulbs fit in here, they're not designed to. So if you put the Maglite bulbs in, what you have to do is essentially just hold this like, yeah, you have to hold this like this, push that in like that, and then obviously when you put the torch on, when you screw it on, it will hold it in place. But the bulbs these come with have like a little adapter to fit in properly, but the Maglite bulbs don't fit them because they're a different shape. But yeah, if you want to see what this looks like with a coloured filter, I'll keep the I'll keep that one in. Let's just see if I can pop this on top as well. I'll just remove the O-ring so you can take these out. It says on the clock behind me what the time is. Let's see if every filter will fit in. So yeah, let's just try putting every single filter in at once. So there's that. And we'll put the O-ring in. Then I'll get this like that and put that back in there. As I said before, there's a thing so you don't have to do this, but I've got that taken off and it's in the other room because for the most part I'm not going to be using it with the filters. So we'll tighten that on and then let's have a look. So yeah, as you can see, that's a pretty dull light there because it's behind filters. I think having the blue and the red filter on technically makes it infrared, doesn't it? You know, where it's like a really dull light. It looks a bit like HAL 2000's Eye, doesn't it, from 2001, A Space Odyssey, or whatever HAL's number is. Is it HAL 1000? I can't remember, but hello, Dave. You know, but yeah, that's obviously, I think this is designed so you can pretty much, you know, see with, if you put both of the filters on very dimly in the dark, you know, near you, but other people won't see the light. Let me just flick this light off and see if there's any So I don't know if you can even see any light really coming off of that in the actual nothing important, Joshua. And they're still now saying there might be another lockdown anyway, when they said yesterday there wouldn't be. So let me flick the main light off. I just want to see if this gives off enough light. You could actually, yeah, this barely gives off light like this actually. So I assume this is kind of like infrared, how this is giving off light now. Because if I hold it close enough to me there, look, you can see a bit of light coming off maybe. Yeah, that was the main use of the filters, was for night use. But what I just want to see, let me get out one of my night vision devices. I just want to see if this acts like infrared. Like a night vision device can, you know, pick it up easily enough. So let me just get this out. Right, so that's that on there. Yes, okay, so to answer your question, this acts like infrared. So if I put that on there, and then see, if I hold, so if I put that there, and then go across the light, can you see that that actually is really visible to that? So yeah, that acts as an infrared filter, basically. So yeah, using the blue and red filter together acts as infrared. I'll flick the lights back on now, but yes, that answers that. That's a very primitive infrared filter, using blue and red filters together. Talcum powder is bad for your lungs, so don't breathe it in. All right, Rodiac Maniac. Right, let me take the filters out again now, because I actually want to be able to use this as a flashlight. Yeah, that's just how the torch, you know, works. It's just a standard torch with two prongs. One's the positive, one's the negative, essentially, and it puts 3 volts through a bulb using the two things. But yeah, I've seen it completely almost blocks the camera's light, doesn't it, having an infrared filter on it like that? But yeah, that's essentially an infrared filter. Can I see through this with my own actual eye? Yeah, I can just about see through it, but only light sources. So yeah, that's really interesting how you can just put those together to make an infrared filter. Yeah, I've got a very cool helmet next to me, actually, that I'll show you guys in a minute. Some of you know I've got it, but it's one I don't get out a lot because of, you know, sadly, the Nazi connotations of it, especially when you get, like, the, you know, dickheads who come on here like, oh, wasn't Hitler a cool guy? You know, those. But yeah, so the filters for this, when I get the complete set of filters, I'll put them, you know, I'll store them in here. But the idea is you get a red filter as well, and the blue filter. So that's the red filter. That's the blue filter. And obviously together they make an infrared filter. That sounds good. Rich, is it all going to plan so far? Favourite mask at the moment? Full size or half face mask, but the Chinese one that Hype sent me I really like, the MF11D. That one I really like. Anyway, let me pop this back together so I can use it as an actual functioning flashlight. There we go. That's like an actual flashlight again. Then the filters are in there. When I get some more filters, I'll put them in the base as well, and then they just screw into the base when you want to use them. If you wanted to regularly use the filters, you keep the other bit on the flashlight, because as I said, I've taken that bit off, so it's just a bit more compact. But there's basically like a little bit normally where there's the bit there that keeps the bulb in place, and then there's like a little bit you unscrew while this bit stays on, or essentially this is then the bit that sits at the front, and there's kind of like a little bridge section which you put the filters in. Well, that's because my opinion's not changed then, Jet, since I've had that mask. But yeah, these are good flashlights, especially with the modern bulbs in them. You know, like a lot of people saying they're antiquated, but they're antiquated in a good way. Because I do like the idea of just putting filters over a lens rather than having to get a different color bulb. What helmet did you bring, Brandon? But anyway, yes, the helmet that people always ask about. And it doesn't have a liner, it's rusty and damaged. But yes, I do have one in my collection. I do have a Stahlhelm. You know, it's got several cracks in it. It's rusty, no liner. But yes, I do have a Stahlhelm. But the interesting thing with the Swiss helmets that you might be able to tell is the Swiss helmets are actually Stahlhelms, just without kind of the same ridge on. This is a US-made one, but lots of NATO countries used these during the Cold War because they were pretty, you know, universal design, because they're designed to be really utilitarian. So this one, Anthony, is a Swiss M71. It only fits me now because somebody told me that you could take the padding out of the leather bits and then it would fit me. But basically, this was the Swiss helmet that replaced in the 1970s the Swiss helmet they'd been using since 1918. Because since 1918, the Swiss basically just had their own giant Stahlhelm that was like the German one but bigger. All right, PC Dragon Productions. Yeah, there's a Riot helmet you should be able to see in the background there, but I've got 3 Riot helmets here. So this one was basically designed to be more compact, and it's also a reversible helmet, which is pretty cool in the sense you can wear it back to front and it still works properly. So basically, Radiac Maniac, is that one of those radioactive brushes for clothes or something? I think there's a museum, isn't there, of all weird radioactive items. So the way you're meant to wear it around is with like the rivet kind of bits at the back, and you're meant to wear it like that, right? And the idea is that you can put binoculars up to it and things like that. Yeah, that's a Riot Shield, Anthony. I've also got a round one, just in case you don't believe me. All those dosimeters are on a Riot Shield. Look, there's another Riot Shield. I don't know if you can see it down there as well. But yes, I do have Riot Shields. So, but you can also use this helmet if you want more head coverage and you weren't using it with binoculars or whatever. You can actually put it this way round, and it, you know, gives you more head coverage. And it actually allows you to move your head back further because that bit's raised at the back. So you can wear this either way around. Obviously, it's more comfortable when it's on purposely designed to be worn this way. But there's not many helmets you can actually do that. Most won't just not fit on your head at all if you try and put them the wrong way around. I'll Google it. So static master brush. Because I'm interested in what this is, but... The old one, sadly, I can't see in stock, but it's an interesting looking thing, isn't it? But yeah, I've seen a page on those before. Loads, Jacob. I've even got ones that are better than Kevlar, as in thermoplastic. But yeah, weirdly, right underneath me here, there's a British Mark 7. So this is Britain's last generation of Kevlar helmet. So this is a bulky boy, but he's a very good protective helmet. But I've got the Virtus or Cobra Battleskin Revision, basically the ECH copy in the back over there as well, which is a thermoplastic helmet. But Shed on Fire, as far as I'm aware, there's no steel helmets that are still made like that have like NVG mounts on, but you can mount NVGs to steel helmets using an adapter system. I think I've covered that in some videos before. There's one that Hype sent me, which is quite cool, where you have like a connector on the front, a connector on the back. They're held on via friction. Yes, I'm saying I think you know the answers to all these because I've shown them loads of times. But yes, I've got nearly all this stuff you're asking about. So yes, there's obviously that's Kevlar British Mark 7. It's a bulky looking helmet. A lot of people don't like it, but it's actually very good in terms of protection. But yeah, underneath the Yugo helmet there's the Virtus helmet. That's actually my best helmet in terms of protective qualities. Yeah, thank you, Spooky. Don't forget to like the video, everybody. And if anybody's interested in becoming a member, I'll just shill it again now because you can see some members in the chat. there should be a join up button in the description, or like basically above the description. You click that, it's $2 a month, £2 a month, whatever, and you get access to members only streams and a couple of other things. So I'll just shill it every now and again, because it sort of is quite good for me financially to shill it, and I think people get good use out of it. Which one's dearer love, the flashlight or the helmet? So that's the old flashlight, but I've upgraded it with the Cree LED bulb, so it's much brighter. That's the British Mark 7 helmet. I've got a load of other helmets in the background. I also had the Swiss helmet on earlier, the old Swiss steel pot, but not the really old Swiss steel pot. I haven't actually gotten around to watching it properly, Brandon, the review. I know it's on Amazon Prime. Right, Jasmine, it depends which one you're on about, because obviously I've got a couple of like lightweight Kevlar ones which aren't rifle resistant, but they stop pistol rounds. There's one actually there, as you can maybe see. It's just like a small stab proof slash can't, because it's on top of the mask. But I've also got a British ECBA that has the ceramic plates in it as well. That's because it wasn't a members one, Visa. There was something very interesting I figured out in the stream, Visa, I should have known. So you know these flashlights with the filter kits? I didn't realise if you put the blue and red one together, it makes an infrared filter. That's pretty impressive, Richard. What was the spooling like? Yeah, if you get the blue filter and the red filter together, put them like that, you get an infrared filter, which is really cool because it means you can see the light with night vision, but you can't really with the eye. So obviously if I put that behind that, you'll probably be able to see, you can see light coming through it that looks like How's Eye from 2001: A Space Odyssey. But yeah, I tested it with night vision earlier in the stream, and you can actually see it like a night vision light. You know, it's not as efficient as modern IR, you know, like LED night vision lamps. But it's kind of impressive that back then they kind of thought, oh, you can just put these filter kits together and you can make a night vision flashlight. Yeah, Jasmine, they're level 4 protective ones in ECBA, but they're quite small panels. So basically the idea is it protects your heart and a bit of your lungs, but it's lightweight. You can buy the filter packs online, Joe, because I've done that now, because I think this was meant to come with more filters and didn't. So I've got a filter pack on order that's like a sealed filter pack. Yeah, it's probably the same thing, Visa, because I know a lot of the Soviet kits had like IR things you could put over headlights. So basically you could drive at night, but it wasn't obvious to other people. Let me look them up, dear love. So it's called Ex-Police. Is that the name of the site? Because let's have a look, because it depends what, it really depends on what kind of plates they are, because some aren't worth that, some are worth that. So it's 150, so that makes them 75 quid each, doesn't it? Ex-Police surplus. Let me just put that in and see if I can find. If I put Ex-Police in and then ceramic plates, let's just see if anything comes up. There's something on a bid, dear love, but I will link you to it because it's an amazing price at the moment. Okay, there you go, dear love. But at the moment, if you can get these for anywhere close to that low bid price, go for these. These are the level 4 plates that the ECBA has. They're small plates, but they'll stop 7.62 NATO. You know, like 1 or 2 hits from 7.62 NATO is going to break them. But, you know, it would save your life. They're bloody good plates, but they're generally like, you know, a few hundred quid generally, if at the moment, you know, if they're put together. There's an RF1 hard plate that's Ex-Police apparently for 50 to 60 quid. It won't let you link, unfortunately, though. dear love. But what I can find, if Prepper's Shop still have them, is Prepper's Shop had some really well-priced body armor recently. If they've still got it and it's not sold out. I think it was under the stab vests, but it was one that was actually like, you know, a ballistic one. Here we go. So again, this is expensive, but for what you get with it, and they're in stock, it's not too expensive. Have a look at that one, mate, because this one is the one that has the plates in it and like the filler, and it's 140 quid, and I think you'd struggle, in all honesty, to get one for that sort of price. And that's like the top tier protective ones in terms of what they cover. They've got the one like I used to have, or I still have, on there for $49.99. And they've also got the mesh type ones for $49.99, but they don't obviously have plates in. They're just simply the ones that are... Jacob, I've got the 2 functioning guns I've got, and I can't show them on streams because of YouTube policy. Obviously, I've got DX as well. But I've got a Schmidt Rubin and a Martini Henry, and they both work. Yeah, I've got an M65 jacket in my car, which gets used for cold weather. If you mean UK Preppers isn't a TV show, I tend not to watch things like that where they make people look crazy or get the weirdest people on. Again, look at the videos on my channel and you can find the stuff if you're interested in it. Oh, Russian from House says, question, do you know anywhere I could find an SAS jacket or something similar? I don't know. I do. Well, a lot of the stuff the SAS used, Russian from Hal, was just standard British Army stuff. So you could get like the DPM smocks because they just use stuff like that. It really depends what you mean by an SAS jacket. I mean, they had the boiler suit type things when they did Operation Nimrod. No, I said I know Prepper's Shop because I just linked them, but probably 40 minutes or so, Joe. It's a shame that tear gas doesn't get used on them, Brandon. Somebody was apparently causing a load of problems, stopping people getting tests at my local test centre the other day. Because some guy went around there with a camera, you know, like getting in the face of all the staff, saying, like, why are you infecting people with corona here? It's all made up, you know, all that sort of stuff. And they had to, like, I think, get the police because he was just, like, disrupting people from getting their tests. Yeah, like windproof smocks, Ryan, they'd definitely use those because the thing is the SAS just used a lot of standard British military equipment. Okay, let me search them, dear love. But if you saw the links I linked, those were very good ones. One-stop cop shop, yeah. Oh, they've got some C50s in, but they're expensive. Oh yeah, they want 200 quid for an FM12. Was it the RF1 ballistic plates? If it's those, I wouldn't bother because 129 quid for grade B level 3 plates is very expensive. Level 3 is the ones where it will stop light rifle rounds, but not heavy rifle rounds. Cheers, Rob's Motos. That's probably answered the guy's questions. Parasmoxon. Cool, Spooky. Which helmet was it? No, I don't have a flight suit. Yeah, they actually don't use CS gas very often in the UK, at least. It's only used as a last resort in a riot situation. But yeah, I think some of the COVID idiots deserve it. Then they might want to put masks on. Oh, cool, an M53. Oh, that's cool, Rob's Motos. But yeah. Well, yeah, Denison smocks are very cool, aren't they, Ryan? The old brushstroke camo smocks, but sadly they're very hard to find now. But yeah, I think a Denison smock is like one of the coolest old bits of surplus ever. They're very expensive and quite faded now. Well, an old Belgian style brushstroke one. They're cool as well, Robson says. But yeah, the best one I could find for you, dear love, I'd say, is that one that they had on Prepper's Shop. because that one, for the price, is very good. Some of the things on that police place seem to be a bit overpriced, I'd say, in terms of, the level of protection offered by the things for what they want for them. Although, saying that, they do have an ECBA with the filler and the plates for 89 quid as a starting bid, and that isn't a bad price in terms of protection. Well, when Kevlar's in a helmet, Brandon, you can't feel it because it's sealed inside. When Kevlar's in a vest, it's like a fibrous thing. Yeah, they're the ones I looked at, dear love, and they're only level 3, so they're not very good plates. You want level 4 plates, really, if you're going to bother with plates. Because, as I said, level 4 plates are... Let me just get this. Like, these aren't very big plates in here, but these are level 4s. So this is like a level 4 plate, and this is the sort of plate that's basically going to stop any rifle round outside of something like a 50 cal, at least for the one shot. You're going to be very bruised and battered, but it will stop it. But the thing is, a level 3 plate, if they're charging that sort of money for it, it doesn't offer all that much more protection than regular Kevlar. Like, yeah, it will stop a couple of rifle rounds that will go, shred regular Kevlar, but there's still going to be a lot of stuff that will pen a level 3 plate that won't pen a level 4. Yeah, you want level 4, don't go for those plates then. I linked you earlier to some ECBAs, but your best bet is, I would say, like this is the one I always recommend, is to go for an ECBA. Because it has if you get like the full ECBA kits, they're not too expensive because of, they're getting surplused. Although the British Army doesn't technically surplus these panels because they still reuse them in things because of how good they are. But yeah, I'll put the ECBA on because ECBAs are really comfortable. So ECBAs, if you're not familiar with them, are like a flak jacket with a Kevlar filler. And they have a ballistic plate in the front and back pouches. So how these work, I'll just do it up. Although I probably need to loosen it a bit because I've put on weight since when I last, adjusted all the bands in it. But how these work is obviously you have the flaps, you put that between, and I'll try and pull that over if I can find where that's on. There we go. Yeah, I definitely need to loosen the tightness bits inside because I have definitely put on weight. But yeah, anyway, you'd have that done up. Then you've got the level 4 plate there to cover your heart and one of your lungs. Pretty much, Richard, it definitely is meant to stop 7.62 by 51mm NATO. There might be some rifle cartridges that aren't 50 BMG, but, are more powerful. I don't know about 30-06, but there's probably some other ones that might penetrate it, but not things that are normally used in most common firearms. Not this one shed on fire, like I say, and this is a lightweight, really easy to use vest. It's, I said I like these because they're lightweight. You can, move about in them easily. These are a complete different story from things like the Osprey vests and the really heavy ones. Yeah, as Daniel says, there'll definitely be things like that I reckon would get through a level 4 plate. Yeah, because they're still good to reuse, aren't they, Rob? I've seen that there's a couple of things that they still do that use ECBA plates, but yeah, like I said, the ECBA I think was a really good design. It was only meant to be a stopgap armor, wasn't it? But they just kept it in service for so long because it worked well. Right, it's an ECBA, John, as in Echo Charlie Bravo Alpha, Enhanced Combat Body Armor. Basically, the original combat body armor the British Army had was this without the plates, as far as I'm aware, so it was just a Kevlar filler. And then the ECBA, the enhanced one, is because it has the front and back, pouches for a ceramic plate. But yeah, these are very good for what they are. You can get them in, like the covers for them, you can get in Woodland 95, Desert 95, and MTP. I've just got the MTP one on because it's the newest cover for it. so it was in the best condition, you know, and it's got like a bit of Velcro thing and everything else. But yeah, all of them are pretty much the same, although I would say avoid if you're getting one to put the stuff in, avoid the oldest Woodland 95 ones, because the really old ones are a pain in the ass to get the Kevlar filler in because of how they're kind of laid out differently. But, you know, like I said, ECBAs, if I definitely had to use some sort of armor for shit hits the fan of some sort, I would use an ECBA just because of the fact you can be quite mobile in it. Yeah, you can get heavier vests, Jasmine. I've got a heavier arm. Mike will tell you, I've got a really heavy Polish armor vest, but I just don't like using those because of how much they restrict your like neck movement and everything else. I could understand if you're somewhere where you're expecting bombs and shrapnel to hit you from every angle where you'd want that. Until I get the bunker, no, John. But because I'm chronically ill, I wouldn't really want to plan for shit the fan thing properly anyway. All right, Rajiv. I'm not really a prepper anyway. It's just because I've got some good surplus stuff, you know. Some of that would be pretty useful. But out of interest, Mike, I don't know if it would interest you, but somebody on eBay had a buy it now on one of those Polish armor plates from inside there for I think 30 quid on eBay. I don't know if you'd have any use for a really big level 3 like steel plate, but I just thought if you're interested, you might want one. Just, you know, as in a homemade armor type thing. I'll link you on Twitter later if you want, but at the moment there's some quite good body armor stuff going on for not too much on eBay. I don't need any more, obviously, myself, but I just thought, it's interesting for anybody that needs it. That's why I've been linking a few people to things in the stream, but... yeah, I'll do it on Twitter. If you remind me, Mike, if I forget when I end the stream. But yeah, I think it was like either 30 or 40 pounds, but I thought for the price... for the steel plate, that's not too bad. The steel plate on its own isn't too heavy. It's only really you combine the 2 steel plates in the front and the back with all the other bits of the vest that they become really, you know, heavy. All right, cool. Yeah, dear love, I'd say get an ECBA for lightweight use, and then if you want to get bigger plates, do it. But yeah, you're gonna have to I don't know if on eBay you can get the let me see if the Osprey plates turn up now and then, because I assume Osprey plates are level 4. Right, you would have to bid on this one. I think it's only the front plate, but there you go. I know the problem with sharing links on the stream like this is other people might start bidding on them, but yeah, that's obviously a bigger plate than the CBA ones, but you know, obviously it's going to be bigger and heavier, up to you. But yeah, that's probably the reason, Robs, they don't turn up very often, isn't it? Because there's lots of stuff like that where if it's reused, you don't see them on eBay very much. But obviously, if you can get hold of them, they're pretty good stuff, from what I understand. Daniel, do you mean the Corona face shield? I'd agree. I mean, yeah, it's better than nothing, but barely better than nothing. It depends where you are in the world, John. In the UK, Prepper's Shop generally gets a lot of stuff in that's not too expensive on there. And otherwise, eBay, just because you can find stuff from all around the world on eBay. But if you just want basic stab and like pistol-resistant armor, buy the ex-police stuff. I have got an M1 helmet cover, Joe, but it's not an official US one. It was one of like the other nations that used an M1 clone, had it in their own camo. I think it was a Danish one. But I've got helmet covers for other helmets, but just not really many for the M1 style helmets. Oh, fucking hell, Radioactive Cow. That sounds like a nightmare. What a load of twats. Hope you're all right and everything. If you're looking for ex-police stuff, John, easiest way is just to go on eBay, type in ex-police armor, or just police armor, and you'll find loads of it come up. But as I was saying, if I link you to Prepper's Shop again, they've got loads on here under stab vests, the ex-police style ones. I'd have to find it, PC Dragon Productions. So I'll get it out for you if I ever find it, but I have no clue at the moment where it is, because this is like a helmet I bought 5 years ago. And because the cover didn't sit very well on the helmet, I took it off pretty quickly and just stored it somewhere. Because, you know, it was one of those covers where there was only a couple of bits where it would actually attach to the helmet, so it would just come off quite often. Or, you know, start peeling off the helmet. Yeah, let me search Danish M1 helmet. And I think it is probably a Danish M1. Right, I'm just going to Google image Danish M1 helmets. That definitely looks like the M1 style helmet it was, a Danish M1. It had the little Danish crown in it as well. But I don't know if there's any with... I think it was a woodland type cover on it, but it wasn't, you know, an exact copy of the US woodland. It certainly wasn't something cool like M81 camo. You know, it was definitely more like an old-fashioned woodland one. But yeah, I can't see any coming up on Google Images, but it was basically just like an M1 camo pattern, but not like the exact, you know, US color sort of scheme of it. But I know loads of nations use that. All right, see you, Mike. I'll link you to the thing when the stream ends if I remember. All right, cool, dear love. Hopefully you get them. Yeah, exactly, Rob. It was that sort of US woodland style one. Yeah. Well, that was the one that became M81 was woodland, wasn't it? Like the couple of Vietnam woodland variants, and then one of them was the one that became M81 woodland. Richard said, link is too long, but if you search Hardox 500 large torso rifle target on eBay, those could be modded to fit a plate carrier. They're about 35 each. Let me have a look, Richard, because I might be able to shorten the link. So, just for anyone interested. Is that the one that's £34 or the one that's £53? Sorry. Oh, yeah, they're about 35, right. Yeah, let me get that up. So it's the AR500 plate. I can shorten the URL down, so let me do that. And check this is the thing you're on about. Is this the one, Richard? It's not bad at all, though, is it, for that? If you just wanted to get one to use as like a basic bit of armor or something. Yeah, suitable for all firearms except 50 caliber and above. Yeah, 1 centimeter thick Hardox. I'll probably get one of those after payday just for doing experiments on. That's an interesting thing. Let me add it to my watch list. Watch this item. That's all right, Rob. I personally don't need any plates because I've got all the ones I want. But yes, there's just quite a few people in the chat seem interesting. Yeah. You could always use it with something else, though, couldn't you, Richard? But I think something like that would be quite good in theory if you just wanted to barricade somewhere or like make it quite secure. Akuma says, funny we live in a time where people see a dude in a gas mask and think of them as wearing the equivalent to what's Yeezys. But yeah, obviously we're fans of gas masks on this channel and a few others. Ones that aren't valuable, Joe, I've done like a couple of crossbow and air rifle tests on, and generally like the steel pot ones are going to stop air rifles absolutely fine for obvious reasons. Some of the steel pots will get pierced by crossbows. There's an RPK behind me, a deactivated one. What would probably be better than tar, Richard? What about silicone adhesive? Because that's really good, like rubber stuff when it dries. Right, there's a guy spamming the chat, so I'll get rid of him. Who didn't even ask a question, was just spamming saying, tell me or I'm leaving. Right, bye then, you're left. And you've got the name of one of the most evil dickheads in history that killed about 50 million innocent people. So I'm glad you find that funny, you know. People who worship Stalin saying sort of cunts who worship Hitler, a mass murderer. Sorry, that was my rant about commies. Oh yeah, Ekba. Yeah, it's like Fal or Org. Yeah. That's the thing, Rajiv. I can't stand load of people. Like, obviously, the Nazis were evil bastards, right? And they deserve the reputation they have in the history books. But the thing I just cannot understand is the people that worship communists. You know, like especially things like Mao or Stalin, like some of the worst killers in history, who caused so much suffering to so many people. And oh, it's cool to like people like that. It's like, no, it's really not. Get what? Sorry, Mr. Ginge. All right, Sparrow. Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, Joe, I would not recommend cutting holes in your mask to play an instrument because that sounds like, you know, defeating the purpose of mask, doesn't it? Oh, that's good, Daniel. Yeah, Furnez masks are all right, aren't they? I've done a review of them, but yeah, if they're a decent price, they're worth getting. Then still. Yeah, that'd be a better way of doing it, wouldn't it, Daniel? Have you seen the Nightmare Kazoo video that was made years ago on YouTube where a guy bought a load of Shums masks and he put kazoos on them so they could play kazoo music with a gas mask on? All right, cool, James. I hope that goes well for you, but I obviously know at the moment that loads of people are out of work and that, aren't they? Quite a few of my friends were made redundant because of Corona, and we're not near the end of it yet. I'm still clinging on to my job for the time being, but I really can't tell, you know, people how long that will be for. Because if lockdown and all that sort of stuff carries on happening intermittently, I think my job's going, in all honesty. I can check for you, Rob. Let me check. I have to pack all this stuff away after I finish streaming, but let me check for you. Because I've got both of them in this room, so I can actually check. I think the answer will be yes, in all honesty, because the Virtus helmet seems to fit with lots of stuff because of this back bit, you know, that you can adjust. So I'll put the helmet there. Let me find where I put the MP5. It should be on that shelf somewhere. Yeah, it's on the far end. Yeah, that's the thing, James. I was saying a load of friends have lost jobs because of COVID, just because, you know, the companies couldn't afford to keep so many staff on when they have no idea how they're going to, you know, come out of it. Yeah, Pasket's a really cool helmet. Sadly, I don't have an original Pasket. I've got a British Armed Police Pasket clone, and I've got, obviously, you know, things like this, which are like the more modern equivalents of Paskets. But they do a blue one, PC Dragon Productions, because there was one for like UN peacekeepers and journalists. But yes, PC Dragon. I'm pretty sure for the ECBA there are quite a few ones. You could just buy a blue one and dye it a different color if you wanted to, but you can get non-camo ones for it. Yeah. Right, I will tell you in a second if the not the ECBA, the Virtus fits with it, but I think it will. Only thing that might get in the way is those clasps and that ridge, but we'll see. The strap won't do up because I don't have the extender for it, but yeah, that fits. There you go. Might be sitting a little bit higher than it otherwise would, but yeah, it fits. I do sometimes do ones at night, Joe. Most people at the moment think the best gas mask currently available is the Avon FM53, but I've never handled one. Glad you enjoy them, Sullivan. Do you like it gaming table, and did it come with all the bits like filler and the other stuff? Yes, to answer the question, the Virtus helmet seems to fit absolutely fine with an MP5. I think most masks seem to fit all right with this because of just the way you can quickly, do that with it. It's quite a forgiving helmet for fitting with stuff. I've got the largest size as well, which helps because it means that, I can adjust that and it fits me all right. But by having a large one. The S10 is very good, JJ, but it's a bit outdated now. Obviously, you can tell from my hoodie I'm a big fan of the S10, but it is a bit dated. There's better kind of feeling rubbers than the S10 on some more modern masks. Some of them have better fields of view and everything, but I do like the S10 a lot. For when it came out in the 80s, the S10 was fucking amazing. All right, how are your Delta in Hamilton? How are the corona cases at the moment? Because I know some bits of Scotland are a bit hairy, and the north of England's really hairy at the moment. Right, yeah. If it didn't have to fill a gaming table, you can put ex-police body armor fillers generally in ECBAs, and that will work fine. The plates are going to be the more expensive bit to get, but they're pretty forgiving if you want to bodge other, Kevlar fillers into them. You don't have to get the official British ones. Yeah, my area is, I think, something like 60 cases per 100,000 people, which isn't too bad, but still puts us in a dodgy, kind of restriction area. But yeah, there's places in the north that are like 400, I think, per 100,000 or whatever. Yeah, I think it's brilliant, Rob. I mean, like I said, I've obviously never done any military service or anything, but out of all the helmets I've got, this one is just very comfortable, and it's made from a really strong material. If you watch like the ECH tests, where people, shoot them and they just withstand pretty much everything. There's horrible deformation to the helmet, but you think that's not at least gone into your skull. It's probably just the trolls haven't woken up, Jacob. Yeah, but don't forget to like the stream, everybody, and maybe we'll have a troll on that we'll dislike, but I'll just say again, if you want to support the channel, a really good way of doing it now is joining the membership thing below. It's $2 or £2 a month, and you get access to some members-only streams and videos. I just thought I'd mention it again because it's all the people that have joined up have really been helping me recently get a bit more income. What I've actually said to a load of people is that did support me on Patreon is just to switch to YouTube memberships, just because it's actually, I think, better money now on Patreon. So I think Patreon takes something like 25% now. Even though YouTube take 30%, it's a lot more straightforward how it's paid. Because I think with Patreon, they take about 25% or more, but then there's a PayPal thing for cashing out as well. Yeah, it's lightweight, isn't it? And I think if you've got it adjusted right, you're not going to really notice it too much. But yeah, this is the main thing, is just how lightweight it is. That, to compare the weight of it, yeah, obviously this is much heavier and bulkier. I do like the Mark 7 because it's a good protective helmet, but yeah, Mark 7 it almost feels like 3 times the weight of this one. But yeah, to compare the weight, this is actually lighter than just a steel shell from an old like M40 style helmet. So yeah, a rusted steel M40 shell is heavier than what this is with all the liner and everything in. Right, thank you very much. I'm not a Muslim myself, but thank you for the kind words. Same to you. Because I don't mind people of whatever religion as long as people are nice to each other. It doesn't bother me if people are atheist, religious, whatever. I only have a problem when people obviously try and impose their views on everyone else. And that doesn't matter if it's religion or whatever else. That's when they just become, dicks. If it lets me gaming table, that would be excellent. For Remembrance Day or whatever. I'd have to see if any equivalent charity is available to do it with. Because the thing is with YouTube charity things, you have to pick from like just a list of their approved charities. Oh yeah, JJ, I think nearly everybody would agree with that, just as they should have kept the FOW longer rather than going to the first generation of L85. Nope, I do not have an SAS CRW vest. Apparently, Daniel, I imagine that would be fine. You'd have to ask somebody who served with one, but I imagine it wouldn't be an issue because there doesn't seem to be much in the way of here that would get in the way. Like, because I know of the Mark 6, it was like the bowl type shape, wasn't it, that caused an issue just because of how kind of the helmet was shaped. Yeah, exactly. Once you've got that tightened up, yeah, I don't even need the strap on, obviously. Strap on, I always find that funny, but yeah. You don't need the strap tied up, do you? And it still isn't going to come off because of how the helmet tightens like a bike helmet. Whereas old helmets, yeah, you'd need to do the strap up and everything else. What does Gordon Ramsay have anything to do with this channel? Yeah, but rather than copying the filler of the US helmet, let's use a cheaper filler that won't work. I don't know why KV 7th Guard Tank whatever a guy is spamming the chat again but not asking a question like the other guy was doing. I think it's probably the same account with a different username. I suppose, James, that could be for like all the fucks and whatever else. Yeah, that's the thing, Rob. I suppose as long as you can find a way around it, it's easy to do. It's not a problem. I prefer the small myself, Rajiv, because I found with a lot of the half face masks, smalls fit quite tight and comfortably. The problem I found with a lot of medium to large half face masks is you tend to have to tighten the straps a lot more to get the gaps to pull tight to your face. So obviously I don't know your exact face size, but personally I would go for a small in most half face masks because at the worst a small half face mask might be a bit uncomfortably tight, but it'll work. Whereas I've found with a lot of half face masks, if you get them in large, some of them you just can't seem to get the straps to pull them tight properly. But that's the problem I have with my medium 3M 7500. It's a really nice mask, but to get it to be airtight, I have to really tighten the straps to pull, the edges in. And at that point, the straps give you a headache because they're putting too much tension on your head. Yeah, I've personally never liked the look of fast style helmets, Joe. I know a load of people think they look cool, but I just like retro style, helmets that cover the most bits of your head possible. Because my logic is if I had a helmet on, I would want a helmet that's going to protect my skull from being, smashed to pieces by stuff flying through the air. Because that's the thing I don't like with the fast helmets, where there's like a big bit there that's kind of exposed, and you think, well, that's a lot more of your head that could be popped. I know a lot of people get them because they've got all the rails on and that, but this is my favourite helmet just because it's the most modern one I've got and the most protective, and it's lightweight and it's comfortable. I can't find a fault with this really. As Rob was saying in the chat, it just overall these seem like excellent helmets. But this is essentially the same helmet as the American ECH, just with a different liner in, and it comes with that like night vision mount or face guard mount, sort of. on that bit. Yeah, I could definitely get the point of them for that M1C Austin. It's just I'm personally not going to be using that stuff. You know, there's reasons why some people will like them. But yeah, whenever I've preferred old helmets, I always like the ones that come down the lowest on the side of your head possible. Like I said, that's the reason I really like that old Yugo helmet. Like as cool as old retro helmets like this are. Oh, cheers, dear love. I hope you enjoy when we do member streams and that. You should be able to watch all my old members' content back at any point you want to as well. Obviously, helmets like this I really like, just because of the retro appeal of them. But again, no side protection, but these were designed to protect you from, you know, shit falling on top of your head, basically, from shelling. Yeah, gaming table, let us know what happens. Maybe film it for everybody's amusement, or so you can sell it to the newspapers later on. So, yeah, out of all the steel helmets I've got, as much as I like these German ones, as I've been saying to people before, I reckon this Yugoslavian style helm is my favourite one. Just because with this Yugo one, you basically have the really good strap system, and when you've adjusted the liner, it sits really low on your head. So you then just do the, or the Karens will call the police, basically. You do the strap up like that, and then obviously you've got the really good head coverage with these. You know, and obviously you can still see out of them because it's slightly raised there. But, you know, I think this Yugo steel pot is probably like the best design of a steel pot I've seen, just because it's every good aspect from the style helm, but not the bad ones. Because obviously, as you can see, what this Yugo helmet is just a German style helmet that's been downsized. But yeah, basically that's all that these are. Cheers, dear love, for the advertisement as well. But yeah, like I said, out of the steel pots, I think designs like this are best because they give you the most head coverage, which is what you want if shit's flying about. Also, funny thing, they weigh about the same, but the Yugoslav ones actually had better steel than the German ones did. Just think I'd point that out. Because you get a lot of the, you know, weeaboos or whatever you call them going, oh, the Germans had the best stuff ever. Like German helmets, as cool looking as they were in World War II, they weren't very good quality steel. So they were quite heavy, but they wouldn't offer too much protection, which you can actually find in lots of videos where people were doing, you know, post-war testing on them, that shrapnel would be stopped by a lot of other helmets, including like Russian and British helmets, was not stopped by the Stow helms. It's a Nixie tube clock, or a cold cathode display tube clock, technically, but it's a clock that uses Nixie tubes to display the time. Yes and no, Joe, because as we were saying, in terms of how it looks and the coverage, very good. The steel they made it from, crap. So again, you know, this is the thing. If you were wearing a Stow helm, the protection wasn't that good. It covered a lot of your head, but the material they used wasn't good. And like even in World War II, this was still a problem. World War One, they didn't use very good steel in them at all, apparently. You know, because that's why like Mangalese steel was used in a lot of helmets because it was a lot tougher. I can actually probably give you a good example of this. Right, good way of showing the difference between these helmets. As much as everybody says that this helmet was crap compared to this one, look at the thickness of the steel. I don't know how obvious that's going to be from the side there, but I notice it's rusted and doesn't have its liner in, but still. Notice how much thicker the steel is in the British helmets. And this is lighter, by the way, as well, despite the steel being better. Yeah, German helmets were just way too thin. The steel, that was the problem. They weren't particularly good steel. And they were really thin. So it was like good coverage, but very thin steel, so it didn't offer much protection. What's the American helmet, dear love? But probably not, in all honesty. But I don't know which one you mean by the American helmet. Because I don't think I have any actual authentic American helmets. I've got an M1 clone. I've got the Pascut clone used by the British Armed Police, but they're very easy to still pick up for cheap. And obviously all my current British Army stuff I definitely want to keep. All right, Sheep Strangler, that's an interesting name. It probably, well, the thing is, I don't know if Paskets would still be covered by ITAR, because I think the ACH and ECH have completely replaced them now, haven't they? But the problem is a lot of customs people don't know what ITAR stuff actually is. I still have an old German firefighting helmet that is like that, but let me look that one up. Bullard H3000. But if you've not seen, I have a glow-in-the-dark one. It's made of aluminium. Yeah, that's the one I've got. That looks a bit more modern and better than mine, but I've got an old West German steel somewhere, one covered in glow-in-the-dark paint. I'll have to check that out, James, because I'm saying I know the problem with the British helmets is mostly just they don't give you any side coverage because they were originally designed for air bursting shells or going to ground like that. That's obviously why they replaced these with like the Mark III style helmets, which were the ones that were more like a bowl, like everybody else is doing. Yeah, JJ, it shouldn't be because it's no longer covered by ITAR. But the problem is, of course, as we were saying, is that not everybody working in customs even knows the rules properly. Which is a problem like in every country in the world, that there's stuff that's restricted and not restricted, and sometimes the people in customs don't know the difference. Yeah, it's weird, Joe Mommer, isn't it? Stuff like that. Right, yeah, so it was a similar problem that they added the Mark VI helmets later on. Where, yeah, when you were prone, the helmet would keep going forwards on your head. I actually don't know the answer to that. By the time amphibias and watches like that were coming out in the 60s, Cheery, I don't even have my amphibia on today. You can see where the skin's paler, where I normally have my amphibia. But yeah, Vostok amphibias, although I've got this one on the desk here. These were post-radium. You know, it was like the regular glow-in-the-dark stuff. I know in the early 1960s, the Soviets were using radium still on things like the DP-63 Geiger counter scales, but later on in the 60s, they'd went to glow-in-the-dark, you know, like phosphorescent stuff. So I'd assume somewhere in the 1960s, but I don't actually know an exact date, but that'd be my guess based on surplus I've got that's Soviet, some of it radium, some of it not. All right, Sheep, I've not really done anything today other than film a video and been doing the stream. I'm pretty sure in the 1960s, Joe, US stuff would still have been radium. Radium didn't stop in a lot of countries till quite late, actually. Yeah, I'd be careful, dear love, because they're probably reading what you're saying on here. And, you know, you don't want to have them do to you what they did to what's his name? Was it David Kelly? I can't remember the name of him. The bloke who was against the Iraq war that conveniently committed suicide. That one. Before the Iraq war broke out or whatever it was. Was it David Kelly? I can't remember. But I know that's like one of the most dodgy things in recent British history, with a bloke, you know, being opposed to the government and all that, and then just happening to commit suicide completely out of character, you know. You could probably do it that way absolutely fine, JJ. You can get M40s sometimes from Germany. That's how I bought mine. There could be, Daniel, but the problem with radium instruments is they had to keep constantly repainting them because radium eats into the phosphor paint stuff. So most dials I've got from British aircraft from the 50s, 60s onwards no longer use radium. All the World War II dials I've got are absolutely soaked in radium. You know, to the point some of them are really scary on Geigers. But you can sometimes find you can get the dials where, although they've painted over the radium, there's still some contamination on them. So, that they still make a Geiger tick, but just not as bad as they used to. But I think any modern era jets, like F4 Phantom sort of era onward of jets, aren't going to have radium in. I think the electric Lightning era jets are probably the last type ones that could have had stuff in. So, yeah, Joe, radium watches was super, super bright when they were new, but because radium used to eat into the phosphor, they don't glow in the dark anymore. So basically, that was the problem with radium, is when radium stuff was brand new, it would glow constantly. But because radium ate into the actual glow-in-the-dark material that was, the radium interacted with, no, both of those are British ones. Yeah, the Virtus one and the Mark 7 are both British, and I'm definitely not selling those. But you can get them on eBay because they're like two of my favorite helmets. Yeah, they'll probably glow, Joe, if you get a UV light and shine them on. What's left of the phosphor still glows on them, but they don't glow anymore in terms of natural glow-in-the-dark ability. Because how it used to work, and I've got some glow-in-the-dark powder in my room, like the room I sleep in, that glows all night because I've got a very mild radioactive check source underneath it. But how it used to work with radium watches, the radium doesn't glow, right? Well, a massive amount of radium does glow in the dark due to ionizing the air, but let's just say in general, radium doesn't glow in the dark, right? But it's very radioactive. Then they would paint a phosphor on that is basically glow in the dark, where, typical glow in the dark stuff where you shine a light on it and it glows in the dark and then it fades. The reason radium stuff used to glow 24/7 was the ionizing radiation from the radium acts like light. It excites the phosphor type stuff it's painted with. That makes it glow in the dark. But over time, that phosphor is degraded by the radium. So what basically happens is if you get modern glow in the dark like powder and you put a bit of radium near it, it will still glow in the dark because it excites it as though there's light. It's just the light isn't visible to you because it's, too high frequency radiation. Yeah, that guy, dear love, that was David Kelly, wasn't it? That was really dodgy. I don't think zombies are real, Brandon, but if they were, just lock myself away somewhere with lots of food and water and have just a big spiky stick to poke them in the head with. 2 masks is too many during the era of Corona. Oh dear, gaming table. Yeah, this is my current zombie sticker. I think this would work pretty well. Prodding a zombie in the skull. But, I've got cutlasses and whatever else built. I'm supposed to bill hook or the glaive. Richard didn't even technically be the best zombie killers I've got. If you mean David Han, Joe, yes, because he drank himself to death. He didn't die. He didn't die of radiation poisoning. That's like a stupid myth. He definitely damaged his health through radiation exposure, but he died because he drank himself to death, and I think he took a drug overdose at the same time because he was depressed. That was the actual reason he died. It wasn't anything to do with radiation. Although obviously radiation could have been some of the reason he'd fucked his life up and then decided, I don't know. What was it? Libyan mask at the time Gaddafi was still in charge? I don't know. I'd have to see. You'd have to find me some pictures and I might be able to ID it, but I've not actually seen footage of them, like Libyan soldiers' masks on. Yeah, David Han drank himself to death. I think he took a combination of opioids and drank, so he just completely suppressed his breathing and that. But basically, it was just like a kind of depressed suicide way of dying. It's a shame because he was like a really bright guy that if he'd been given the right opportunities, he might have done really good stuff. But You know, I think he basically ruined most of his prospects from the stuff he did when he was a kid, you know, playing about irradiation, and then just became depressed, sadly. Well, so you just cut everything up, Joe, as you walk around, or what? Yeah, I'll go off now because I've been on for an hour and 10 minutes. A big thank you to anybody that joined up onto the memberships today, because I know Dear Love did, so thank you to him. It's been a good, enjoyable chat on this stream. Oh, I see a boss on me. Yeah. All right. But I will do a stream tomorrow, but it'll be in the evening. It'll probably be a members only stream because I'm kind of alternating them now between a members stream and a non-members stream. Just because the members stream always never get trolls on, which are nice. But yeah, generally I do stream in the evening because a few people today were saying, I'm streaming too early. Why won't you stream in the evening? It's just because I do streams now and again like this for people in time zones where they can't watch a stream in the evening. So yeah, see you all. Have a good day. And there'll be a video on Wednesday about my Pocket EDC that was requested yesterday by a member. And then on Friday, I'm going to do a video of all the stuff I keep in my car, you know, like car EDC, if you want to call it that, like, you know, high-vis stuff. You know, like clothes for cold weather, wet weather, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, have a good day, everybody, and I will see you all on the next video or stream.